Boker Tov, everyone. We're continuing in Megilat Esther Perek Gimel Pasuk Vav, and we're up to where Haman is very angry that Mordechai is not bowing down to him. And the Pasuk says, Vayives be'enav, he got so angry and now he wants to kill Mordechai. But Vayives be'enav, it would be embarrassing in his eyes, Haman's eyes, Yishloach yad be'Mordechai levado, to kill or to do something to Mordechai on his own, because he's such on a high level, and it's going to look embarrassing for him if he just picks on this one guy that's not bowing down to him. Ki yigidu lo et am Mordechai, because they told him the nation of Mordechai, meaning this was not just a personal thing that this guy didn't bow down to him, but it became a religious war as well, where they told him that he is Jewish, and he said therefore it's a Jewish issue why this guy's not bowing down to me, the leader's not bowing down to me. Vayvakesh Haman leashmid et kol haYehudim, and therefore he said, I can't just kill Mordechai, it's going to look bad on me. And the issue with Mordechai why he's not bowing is Mordechai said because he's a Jew, so let's kill all the Jews. So therefore he wants to kill et kol haYehudim asher bechol malchut Achashverosh am Mordechai, that all the Jews that are in the kingdom of Achashverosh, the nation of Mordechai, that this whole thing stemmed from because Mordechai said he was a Jew. Okay, the next pasuk here goes as follows. Just one second. Okay, so then what's his next step? B'chodesh harishon hu chodesh Nisan, on the first month, which is the month of Nisan, Bishnat Shtem Esre lemelch Achashverosh, on the 12th year of Achashverosh's reign, Hipil Pur Hua Goral Lifnei Haman. He put a lottery, a pur. What's the pur? The pasuk tells us that's a goral. That's why it's called Purim. Lifnei Haman, in front of Haman. We'll see what this means, in front of Haman. Miyom layom, from day to day, meaning a goral of days, umechodesh lachodesh, and from month to month. And meaning there's a goral of days and there's a goral of month. Which one is the proper day and month that he should attack? Hu chodesh Adar, and the one that came out is chodesh Adar. Now if we pay attention, this is year 12 of Melech Achashverosh. So we saw a few times, we saw year 3 was the party. Year 7 was when Esther was captured, or was brought to Achashverosh rather. And we said that's why she was in hiding for 3 years in preparation for 1 year. That's year 7, and now this is year 12. So it's 5 years that it took to basically raise up Haman, because he said that he brought him to the highest level, and then Haman was at the highest level, and the king said now everyone should bow down to him. Mordechai didn't bow down, and then he peeled Pur. So that was all 5 years. By the time he took in Esther, and by the time it took to raise him up to that level, and then the not bowing down. So the Gaon Vilna explains as follows. He says this is the one of the greatest miracles here in the story is the Pur, because it ended up being Pur Anut on Haman. It ended up being it's a deadly and opposite for Haman, because it was on that day he wanted to kill. That's when he got killed after. He got killed right after this in Chodesh. I think it was in Chodesh Nisan as well.
It took 1 year to get to the Adar.
It happened. This happened in Nisan, and then at the Adar. But we're going to see that it was actually not long after this point that we're going to see he's going to get killed. Now the story slows down, but and then it was only months later in Adar where that day ended up coming up, and the king already sent a letter. We're going to see it later that people are allowed to kill the Jews. So he can't go back on that letter. So Achashverosh sent the second letter. The Jews are allowed to defend themselves. So when that day came, even though Haman was already dead, Amalekim came to try killing the Jews, and we were able to defend ourselves, and not one Jew died. I think it was 750 or a little bit more. Amalekim died in that time, and then we were finished that war, so that mini war, and then we celebrated. That was Purim. So he does this Pur. Now, so Nes number one is that it all at the end of the day is switched on him. So he says though here's a concept of touching upon Mazalot, where Haman is doing this lottery. What's his intention with this lottery? He's trying to find a date that's good to destroy the Jews. It sounds like there's Mazal over here, that maybe we're confined by this Mazal. But the government quotes the Gemara that says, En Mazal Israel. There's no Mazal for Israel. So what does this mean? So we know that there's constellations, and we know even though the Goyim talk about Sagittarius and Cancer and this, but there is those things even in Torah. And what does it mean En Mazal Israel? So first he says is that when Avraham Avinu was married with Avram and Sarai at the time, their mazal in the mazalot, it was that they were not going to have children. But then Hashem brought him above the mazal. Ko yezaracha, and Hashem brought him above mazal, and brought him above and changed his name, and then he was able to have kids. So according to the mazal, what it read was that he's not going to have children, but Bnei Israel are above that, and Avraham is above that. But that means we come from Avraham Avinu. That means our mazal as well is above the mazalot. Our fortune is above the mazalot. So he says that there's two types of mazalot: mazal klali and mazal prati. Mazal that's general, and mazal that's individual. So he says, as klali, as a whole, where there is a mazal klali for Bnei Israel, and we could go above and beyond. That's why we're compared to kochavim, and we're compared to the sand. That if we are tzaddikim, we do righteous, we're like the stars above the mazalot. If unfortunately we do bad, we get to the lowest of the low, and we go to like the sand. And therefore that's our mazal klali. And he says therefore sometimes in a general mazal there could be a situation where a city, let's say unfortunately what happened in Turkey, whatever, there could be a city that for some reason Hashem decrees this city is too bad or whatever it is, and they need to get punished. That's a mazal klali. Sometimes tzaddikim could be in that city and they're going to get hit also because of the general mazal klali. But if they leave that city and run away in advance or whatever it is, then that decree might not be on them because they're a prati person, they're their own person, and they're judged individually. But sometimes there is the mazal klali that we could kind of be part of. But at the end he says, because at the end of the day en mazal, and other forces can't control our mazal, and it's basically dependent on us. If we're tzaddikim, we're high up, and if we're not, we're low. So this thing that Haman did was actually is contrary to what we think. We think that he did a goral to find a bad day for the Jews, and therefore on this is a good time for me to attack. It's a bad day for the Jews. Rather, he can't touch us in that fashion. Rather, he tried finding a good day for him. When's a good day where his mazal is going to be strong? It's because Goyim are within mazal. He wanted to find where is his mazal strong, and using his strong mazal, maybe I can now fight the Jews. That's how he explains the goral of Haman. Okay, that's that for today. We will continue Bezrat Hashem tomorrow. What?
It was 7 of Adar.
Sorry?
It was 7 of Adar.
No, 13th of Adar. 13th of Adar. The Pur was the 13th of Adar. Adar, he usually says Adar, then it's going to say the next Pesuk. It was the 13th. So that's why the 13th is the fast, because, right, and then the next day we celebrated because we finished. But in Shushan it was 2 days of war, and they celebrated on the 15th.
Do you consider Mazal Prati as the Prati?
Well, Hashkacha Pratit is Hashem is always watching you, is always with you, right? I don't call it Mazal Pratit. Mazal, it seems like it's something that's set in the stars for a person, from Hashem, of course, but it's set like so. If a person has a chokhmah, let's say for a non-Jew who is embedded in Mazal, so a person could check if they're on that level. And Nevi'im may be prophets, and say, oh, your mazal is going to be this exactly. Right? But we can be above and beyond. But yeah, do we have a set mazal to start with? I'm not sure. I'm very skim on this on this concept, but Hashgacha Pratit is different. That Hashem is just always with us, and nothing happens for a coincidence. En Mazal Israel. Right, so we're saying En Mazal, and that's so En Mazal Israel is on a Prati level. En Mazal Israel. On a Kalali level, he says there is, but there is what there isn't. There is a general Mazal. We could break that Mazal. For tzaddikim, we could go above, and if we're not. But there is a Kalal Israel Mazal, how things kind of would be without any extra intervention from us as a whole. If we become more righteous or not right. Like, let's say when Mashiach is coming. There's a date when Mashiach is coming. But if we are more righteous as a whole, we do more things, we could make that date earlier. Right? So we have influence on that. But there is that set time. If we're just status quo, what's going to happen then?
The Mizmor that we say every day after the David Adonai Orivi Ishi.
Yeah.
Did he see in the Ruach HaKodesh about Purim coming? Because it says that it's connected to Esther.
Who says that's connected to Esther?
David.
That pasuk is connected to Esther. I mean, it does sound like it. Al taster banecha avivi imi azavuni, because she had no parents. It does sound like it, but I never heard that's the connection.
They gave her to Mordechai, right? And it says, Al taster banecha mimeni. That's where
Okay, I didn't know that it connects to. Okay, I didn't know that it connects to Purim, but that is good. Chazaku Baruch. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashya ורצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל לפי חיבר להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר אדוני חפץ למען צדקו הגדיל תורה וידיר.